We can start our technical session. Now I request Professor Bose, Assistant Professor of Department of English, to give an introduction about the chairperson, Dr. A. Indra Balani.
A very cheerful and great morning to one and all present here. I take it as a great privilege to introduce the chairperson of our very first session, Dr. A. Indra Balni. Dr. A. Indra Balni is a professor by career, a veteran in the field of education, an expert in the field of literature and language. She has her UG and PG degrees from the Madras University and holds an MPhil degree from Mother Teresa University and, of course, her doctorate from Laila College. I request Dr. Indra Balini to preside over the session. Welcome,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the lovely introduction. And I'm indeed very happy to be here. Warm welcome to all the participants to this virtual platform provided by Mohammed Sattaq College of Arts and Science in collaboration with Cape Comorin Trust India. And on the outset, I would like to thank the management of Mohammed Sattaq College and Cape Comorin Trust for giving me opportunity to chair the session. I would also like to thank my beloved HOD, Department of English, Dr. M. Kalai Natiyar, and Mr. Bhuvanendra Bose, a good friend of mine, for the kind invitation. When I saw the topic, a two-day international virtual conference on literature, education, and then social sciences, I was in fact tried to find the connection between all the three major fields. Of course, we human beings stand high above any other creatures of this world because we are the social beings, okay? And education can be catered to us. We are the social beings, and literature is a mirror kept on the society to reflect the happenings of the society. So it is so well intermingled with each other topic. I really find how the people have chosen these three fields together and put it in the topic of this conference. I'm indeed really thankful. Hats off to you. And well, coming to the research and article, and I have few things to tell it to the participants. If Mr. Bhuvanendra Bose allows me, I will continue things about the research. Okay. And here is the things in the research article, the questions you have to ask in the research article. It's not just preparing an article and presenting an article, and it is a systematic and creative work. So if it is systematic and creative, it is actually adds up to the treasure store of one's knowledge. So when we write a research article and publish it, we should be asking a question to us: am I giving something extra to my readers? Okay, is the article useful to them to prolong their research, continue their research? And another thing, what you can ask is my title vivid and clear? That is another thing which we have to ask. And the next what you can do is, do I defend the cause for which I have chosen this particular research? Okay, so these things are a bit important for us to remember. And finally, you have to think how this research article of mine is going to be useful to the society. Is it going to be useful to the society is the best question we must ask. And the final and very, very important question is my research article combining the ethical codes given to do a research? So if we have all these things, then our research paper will be the perfect one. And I hope all the participants here will see to that everything is there in their paper also. So I am very glad to be here to listen to you all. And I think I will open this session for the presenters. And
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes,
May I
sir.
interrupt? With your permission, of course. Ma'am, I would like to
Hmm.
state to all the participants that due to the shortage of time, we would really appreciate if they would take their session, individual session, and maintain it up to 10 to 12 minutes of duration to the maximum. And we'll be really grateful if they're going to hold their time. And I
Okay.
wish everyone good luck. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Just before stepping into the presentation, I would like to tell that we have the participants from all over the world. I think actually many participants from India and from abroad also. I'm extremely glad to invite them to present. And first we have Dr. Uzma Siddiq, Assistant Professor. Are you there, madam?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, she is from the Department of Education, Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh, Uttar Pradesh, India. And her topic is given as, the title is given as implementation of a rubric for assessing pre-service science teachers' lesson plan activities with respect to TPAC for meaningful learning with ICT. You can proceed now, ma'am. Yeah,
Okay,
welcome.
good morning, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am. I hope I'm audible to all of you.
Yes.
Okay, so let me present my screen before I start my presentation. So I just want to share my. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so good morning to all of you, respected chairperson of the session, the organizers of this conference, and all the participants present over here. A very good morning to all of you. I am Dr. Usma Siddiqui, Assistant Professor from Department of Education, AMU Aligarh, and I'm here with my presentation on the topic, which is from the area of testing and assessment. And the topic for today's presentation is implementation of a rubric for assessing pre-service science teachers' lesson plan activities with respect to TPAC for meaningful learning with ICT. So this topic is very relevant when it comes to assess the quality of teaching, delivered by the teacher trainees. And this paper is being written by taking the sample from my department, the B.Ed students who are doing teaching practice, and just now last month only they have finished their teaching practice. So as we know that nowadays it is very relevant, and especially in the online learning situations or online teaching situations, it becomes basically very compulsory for the teachers to integrate technology in their respective teaching subjects. So in order to find out to what extent are they able to implement various technological tools in teaching science, and with that intention, I have carried out this particular research study. And we know that technology is becoming, continuously becoming an integral part of our life, both inside and outside the classroom environment. And as being pointed out by various researchers, that there are various benefits of technology integration in educational environment. Okay, so it because basically technological tools, it helps in increasing the understanding of complex and abstract concepts, and it can also encourage collaboration among teachers and students. But before the pandemic, most of the teachers, they find it difficult in integrating technology, maybe because of their lack of knowledge, or because of the excess, or because of the cost involved. But after pandemics, because of a sudden shift towards online teaching, a number of teachers, they are forced to use technology and integrate it in their respective teaching learning process. So long back, two experts, they have the concept of TPAC, that is the Mishra and the Kohler, in 2006. And basically, they are focusing on three types of knowledge. One is the technological knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, and the content knowledge. As the names are clearly indicating that content knowledge is all about the teacher's own knowledge of the subject matter in which he or she has specialized herself or himself. It includes the knowledge of concepts, the theories, the principles, the laws, and other things related to their subject. Pedagogical knowledge, it includes the teacher's knowledge of the various practices, processes, and methods regarding teaching and learning. It also includes the aims of education and the knowledge of students' learning styles, management skills, lesson planning, assessment, and testing. Technological knowledge, it describes a teacher's knowledge and understanding of various technologies and associated resources. It also includes the ability to use technological tools for a particular subject area in the classroom environment, and also the ability to recognize which technology will assist or impede learning and when. So this is the basically the TPAC framework. It is based on these three types of knowledge. When these three types of knowledge they will interact with each other, they will further give rise to other three types of knowledge which are being mentioned over here. One is the technological pedagogical knowledge, which is concerned with the relationships and interactions between technology and pedagogical practices. Pedagogical content knowledge, it also describes the relationship between pedagogical practices and the learning objectives. And the technological content knowledge, it describes the relationship and intersections among technologies and learning objectives. The interaction of these six types of knowledge, they will give rise to this concept of TPAC, which is this is the way they have represented their TPAC framework, how they are interacting and with each other. So it is very much important, or it is very interesting to see how the pre-service teachers they have understood the integration of technology in their teaching practice days, and how they have integrated the technology in the teaching of science uh, by utilizing all these six types of knowledge they are having regarding the content, regarding the technology, and regarding the pedagogy. So the main objectives of my study are that to explain the theoretical conceptions of a rubric, to assess teachers' TPAC with respect to 5 dimensions of meaningful learning. And the second one is use the rubric to analyze the strengths and weaknesses of the learning activities designed by pre-service science teachers with respect to TPAC for meaningful learning. We will see what are the dimensions of meaningful learning when we will deal with the first objective of this study. This is the research methodology used. The descriptive and the quantitative research method is being used. Only the 30 pre-service science teachers they have volunteered to take participation in this particular research study. And these are the various tools which are being used. A rubric which was being developed by Joyce Co in 2013, and the science lesson plans prepared by the pre-service science teachers. The 2 lesson plan of each for the pre-service science teacher was being evaluated using the rubric. And very simple descriptive statistical techniques are being used: mean, standard deviation, and the percentage. Then this is about the 5 dimensions of meaningful learning with ICT, which my topic is about. That is, the first dimension is the active, the second one is the constructive, the third one is authentic, the fourth one is intentional, and the fifth one is cooperative. And here I have defined what actually the meaning of these dimensions are. For active means for how long the lesson plan activities is allowing the students to engage with the information, and how they are utilizing the ICT tools in their learning. Constructive means to what extent did the use of ICT tools in lesson activity engage students in divergent thinking regarding the subject matter. Authentic means to what extent did the use of ICT tools in the lesson plan activity engage students to represent their personal experiences and understanding of the phenomena they are experiencing in their daily life, and which those experiences are related to the subject matter. And intentional means to what extent ICT tools in the lesson plan activity engage students to self-diagnose and to rectify their mistakes. And the cooperative, to what extent that the use of ICT tools, it will allow the students to take part in a group or team situation. So these are the 5 dimensions. So it means if they are engaging themselves, as per the description of these dimensions in the lesson plan activities, then they are said to be active, constructive, authentic, intentional, and cooperative. These are basically the 5 dimensions, and we will see further how these dimensions are being utilized for making the rubric. So first, the rubric. What is rubric? Rubric is a guide. It gives the specific criteria for grading or scoring the academic papers or the projects or the test. Here it is being used for grading or scoring the lesson plans of the pre-service teachers. Basically, the rubric is having, a coherent set of criteria. It is having 2 parts basically, as being shown in the next slide. It is sets of criteria, and for every criteria, the level of performance is being described, as was being done by, Joyce in 2013. This is the rubric he has made. And he has made use of the 5 dimensions of meaningful learning, that is active, constructive, authentic, intentional, and cooperative. So they are the criteria on the basis of which we can check the quality of the lesson plans prepared by the pre-service science teachers. And as you can see, these are the dimensions. Okay, these are the sets of criteria as per the definition of rubric. And 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, they are the ratings, or the marks, you can say, in some way, or the scores, you can say. And each score is describing, 0, if we see for active, 0 means that students passively receive in subject matter ICT all the time. It means they are not active at all. But if we move from 0 to 4 in the active dimension only, towards the right side, we will see for the 4th rating, it is written almost all lesson time involves students using ICT to work with the subject matter. I mean, they are all the more active. So these are the descriptions with the sentences which are written under each rating. They are the descriptions for each dimension. As I was telling you in the definition, it is having 2 aspects: the criteria or the dimension, and the description, for the each level of performance under each criteria. So these types of activities are basically included in the lesson plan by the pre-service science teachers: the reading, speaking, listening, and viewing, or you can say observing, writing, evaluation. So I have mentioned what type of activities they were using, because they were doing practice teaching in online situations. On MS, they are making use of a number of ICT tools in their teaching learning process. So these some names of the activities I have mentioned over here, okay, what they have used in their respective lesson plans. So when the ratings are being given to their activities, which they have included in their lesson plan, the ratings are being given by making use of the rubric. And this is the analysis which I found that for the active dimension, for all the types of activities, the active dimension is found to be having the highest mean, except for listening and viewing, right? In the case of the listening and the viewing activities, the authentic dimension is having the highest mean of 3.01, right? But for other types of activities, that is reading, speaking, writing, and evaluation, active dimension is found to be having the highest mean, right? Indicating that because of the nature of the subject of science, right? The way they were teaching, or they were making use of those activities, that they were enabling their students to be active, during the course of their lesson plan delivery. So this is a very interesting analysis, and the results which I have got from the analysis of their lesson plans, we can say to an appreciable extent, the pre-service teachers, they were able to integrate technology in their respective lesson plans. if we will see all the means, none of the means, it's lying below 1, right? Because as per the Joyce, who has made this rubric, he has cautioned that if the ratings are coming below 1, or it means that things are not up to the mark. It means the lesson plan activities, they are not up to the mark, or it means the students are not, they have not learned the integration of technology in their respective lesson plans. So these are the brief results. Even though it is a very comprehensive study, only one part, of included in this research paper because of the short of time. And what I have derived, what I have concluded from my study is that, as being pointed out by other researchers as well, that rubric can be used to guide the development of activity types for supporting, constructivist type of, lesson plans or instruction in different subject areas, because there the students are being given opportunities, and to integrate different types of activities in the lesson plan. And even the student themselves, they can check the quality of their lesson plans. It is not like that only their teacher educator will check. The student themselves can check the quality of their lesson plans if they will make use of this rubric, right? This is an interesting thing. The rubric is not only meant for the teacher, it is meant for the students themselves. So if they want to self evaluate, they can go for the use of rubric. And this rubric can be used by pre-service teachers in different subject areas. And the second can say that rubric can be used to assess ICT lesson plan activities with respect to TPAC. It means it was being effectively and successfully used, and it can be used to pinpoint the strengths and weaknesses of their activities, right? So this is also an interesting thing, because as per the choice, if the mean is below 1, it means that things are not taking place up to the mark. It should be 1, or it should be, if it is above 2 in all the dimension, then it means that the things, or the lesson plan quality is up to the mark. And it is definitely useful for developing the teacher's TPAC, aspect. It means that it can train the teachers in understanding, okay, what are the different dimensions of TPAC and how they will be taken care of while making their respective lesson plans. So this is all I would like to present. Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks for patient listening.
Thank you, madam. It's a wonderful presentation indeed. We find this methodology can be used by all the teachers, so that the SWOT analysis can also be done through this, I feel, because we can find the weaknesses and the strengths of a lesson plan. If it is adopted in the other subjects also, it will be useful. Thank you, ma'am. Anybody has a question, you can put forth. Otherwise, we can go to the next one. You can stop your screen sharing, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah, the next person to present is Dilna OP, PhD research scholar, Department of Sociology and Population Studies, Bharatiyar University, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. And her title is a descriptive study on educational status and its challenges among tribes in Attapadi, Palakkad, Kerala. Ma'am, are you there to present? Dilna, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yeah, I could see her there, but I think you're in mute. We can't hear you, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, very feeble it is. Yeah, continue, ma'am. Do you have any PPT?
Yes, ma'am. Is it visible, ma'am?
No.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Tell me.
Is it visible?
No, not yet. You can click on present to all or screen sharing.
Yeah, it's opening now.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, we can see. Yeah, present.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dilna OP, PhD Research Scholar, Department of Sociology and Population Studies in Bardiyar University, Coimbatore. The study is a descriptive study on educational status and its challenges among tribes in Attapadi, Palakkad district of Kerala. Primary education sector in Kerala is more advanced when compared to other states in India, but it has not been possible among the tribes or Adivasis. Even today, majority of tribal people are socially and economically marginalized. The social impoverishment of the group is reflected in their educational backwardness. Despite the government has introduced various schemes and programs to overcome the educational backwardness of the tribes, but the vast majority of them as outside the educational system because the tribes are unaware about the welfare schemes and programs. The tribal people are scattered in almost all parts of the world, and India has taken position behind Africa in terms of tribal population. According to the 2011 census of India, there are 573 tribes with a population of 104.2 million, or 8.6 percentage of the country's population. This tribal group are spread all over the states, having diverse culture and life practices. In the globalized world, India's population, including those belonging to scheduled tribe, is undergoing demographic, socio-economic, and cultural information. The greatest challenge that the government of India has been facing since independence is the proper provisions of the social justice to the scheduled tribal people by ameliorating their socio-economic condition. Scheduled tribes or scheduled castes and denotified tribes constitute the weakest section of India's population from the ecological, economical, social, and educational angles. They constitute the matrix of India's poverty. From the historical point of view, they have been faced to the worst type of exploitation from the society. They are practically deprived from many social facilities and isolated from modern and civilized way of living since so many centuries. There is a need to make a clear idea of the tribal situation in the present society, particularly in terms of their poverty and educational backwardness. The study confirmed in Attapadi, the most educationally backward tribal area in Palakkad district, in a state that has the highest literate rate in the country. Tribal communities in Attapadi, who are educationally backward, socially marginalized, and culturally segregated. More than 7 decades of development efforts have failed to bring about a significant change in their situation. So the educational status of tribes in Attapadi is still poor. It has several factors responsible for educational deprivation of tribal people, followed by family responsibility, financial problem, lack of interest in studies, lack of support from parents, and early marriage. All these reasons are the root cause of the exclusion of tribal population. Sorry, tribal education. All the above factors, poverty are the basic reason for educational backwardness among the tribes in Attapadi. Poverty and education are inseparably linked. If the people are living in poverty, may stop to going school, so they can work for family. There are three objectives in my study. The first one is to study the socio-economic factors responsible for tribal education in Attapadi. The second one is to examine the level of tribal education in Attapadi. The last one is to know the existing constraints of tribal educational backwardness in area under the study. These are the literature that I used for secondary data. The result is that continue to be vulnerable even today, not because they are poor, assetless and illiterate compared to The other that means non-tribal population. And the second one, result is a study by Bipasha Sinha. Education among this tribal group mostly limited and exclusion from higher education is of their concerns. And the next one is reasons for the dropping out. Um, Purely related to individual attitude on education and negative. Students had to deal with try to comprehend what their teachers were teaching them in the local language, and negative attitude towards schooling are the major reason of school dropout and educational backwardness. And Dr. Hasina V.A. Et al. Reason are the root cause of education. The reason for the educational backwardness is the alienation of tribals in education and dropout. In methodology part, the source of that the study is based on both primary and secondary data. Secondary data help the research to solve the problem, reduce variable, and so on. The source of primary data collected from this selected field study through interview schedule. And the area of the study, the present study is carried out in Attapadi, the most educationally backward tribal block in Palakkad district of Kerala. It has one of the largest tribal settlement and first tribal block panchayat in Kerala. There are three villages in Attapadi, Agali, Pudur, and Sholayur. And there are three tribal communities, Irlas, Mudugas, and Kurumbar. And method of data collection, that is interview schedule for the collection of primary data. And sampling size and technique, the study is based on probability sampling, in that is a simple random sampling method that helps lottery method help this data collection. And the analysis of data. The research is to bring out the information about socio-economic factors responsible for educational backwardness among tribal, the level of tribal education in Attapadi, and the existing constraints of tribal educational backwardness. And the analysis, our interpretation is the socio-economic condition of the family lead to them educational backwardness among tribals in Attapadi. Their home environment was not conducive to the study. Their parent or community is not aware about the advantages of education, so the couples are engaged to household duties. The major social economic factors for educational backwardness were family environment, lack of parental support, income status, occupation, language problem, discrimination from the institution, distance from home to school, etc. Lack of enough learning facilities at home, hostel facilities, and residential schools leads to educational backwardness among tribes. Lack of interest among children, socio-economic, cultural, and psychological factors were found to be responsible for educational dropout among them. Due to lack of awareness about the importance of education among tribal parents, they do not pursue their children to go to school regularly. A very few tribal couples feel that they are not recognized by anybody in this school, and their presence of or absence in the class is not noticed. Teachers neglect them, and other couples discriminate them in school. Tribal students not get proper help from teachers, and non-tribal students or classmates. Tribal parents do not go to school to ask about the educational progress of their children, and the educational incentives available to tribal students from the government side that are far below their educational needs. On the recommendation, awareness should be created among the parents about the importance of education, and early marriage should be discouraged to reduce the number of school dropouts. Tribe-wise enrollment, dropout, promotion, result, etc. of the tribal service at all levels from the primary to the university level should be checked yearly. Establish non-formal educational institution in tribal areas and establish vocational education and skill-based education also. Activities of parent-teacher association should be strengthened. Conclusion. Both central government and state government have committed themselves to develop the tribal education and socio-economic path. All the possible programs, welfare schemes, and all kinds of incentives are offered to the development of tribals. However, still we are hearing that tribes are gradually advancing in education and socio-economic status. However, this status is still far below expected norms. Thank you.
Thank you, Sultana.
Hello, ma'am.
People there and talk to them. You said Irulas and other tribal people. Could you able to approach them very easily?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, language is the main problem. They are speaking local language. That is one of main issue. And they do not accept the other people, non-tribal peoples. That is the second issue.
Okay, thank you. Good effort taken. Okay, good effort taken. Thank you very much, Dilna. And we have the next participant. And next participant is Momin Taiba Fatima. Altaf.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you are present. She is a research scholar of Sabarmati University, Ahmedabad, and her title is Women's Image in Charlotte Perkins Gilman's The Yellow Wallpaper. A nice topic. Expect better from you. Yeah, you can present now.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, you can.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Momin Taiba Fatima, and I am a research scholar from Sabarmati University, and I will give my presentation orally, and my topic name is Woman's Image in the Yellow Wallpaper. Woman's Image in Charlotte Perkins Gilman's Yellow Wallpaper. The Yellow Wallpaper is a short story written by American writer Charlotte Perkins Gilman. This story published in 1892, and this story written in 6,000 words. The Yellow Wallpaper is considered to be one of the most highly and critically acclaimed literary works and widely anthologized feminist literature. Charlotte Gilbert Perkins wrote her short story, The Yellow Wallpaper. The Yellow Wallpaper also endeavors to depict the status of women during the mid to late 19th century in early America. Women's roles during the Victorian period were succinctly defined by a society which severally subjected and relegated women to strict codes of conduct, behavior, ideologies, and thoughts, as well as denial of self-expression, not only outside function of social rules, but also within the marriage itself. In the Yellow Wallpaper, the unnamed narrator suffers from depression following the birth of her baby. Her husband misdiagnoses her with hysteria and prescribes the rest cure. The narrator
Excuse me, Rukhsana Begum, can you put yours in mute? Rukhsana Begum, can you put yourself in mute? The presentation is interrupted. Rukhsana Begum. Yeah, continue, madam.
Yes, I continue. Okay. The narrator moves to a summer home with her husband John, a physician. John was a physician and their baby. She suffers from a postpartum depression, but John doesn't take it seriously. After a couple weeks, the narrator is getting worse. She becomes obsessed with the yellow wallpaper in her room. She sees a woman's figure in its pattern. The narrator tries to discuss her problem with John, but he doesn't want to listen. The narrator begins to distract John and Jenny. Jenny was the housekeeper. The narrator claims that she is feeling better. She sleeps during the day and stays up at night. She is now haunted by the yellow smell of the yellow wallpaper. She makes a discovery. The wallpaper's from pattern is moving as the woman shakes it from behind trying to escape. One day, the narrator sees the woman creeping around. Her obsession reaches its peak. She locks herself in a room and creeps around it. The story is about a woman who suffers from a mental illness. After 3 months of being closeted in a room by her husband for the sake of her health, she becomes obsessed with the rooms revolting the yellow wallpaper. She brought this story to change people's minds about the role of women in society, illustrating how women's lack of autonomy is detrimental of their mental, emotional, and physical well-being. This story was inspired by her treatment from her first husband. The narrator in the story must do as her husband, who is also her doctor, demands, although the treatment he prescribes contrasts directly with what she truly needs, mental stimulation and freedom to escape. During the 19th century, women had no choice or voice concerning matters regarding their social, economic, and emotional welfare. Women had very limited access to education, and without it, they could not follow a profession. For the unmarried woman, the only available professions were usually low-paid jobs, which provided a meager subsistence as governance, social, or parasite, or a lady's salaried companion. Married women, on the other hand, they did not do anything better. They held no right to financial resources, as these resources automatically become the sole property of the husband. At the moment of marriages, these women were simply stripped of all their assets. So my presentation is over here, and thank you so much for everyone to listen me very carefully.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, ma'am.
Thank you very much. And is there any reason behind this choice of story you have taken? Is there any reason that you have, why did you take this story?
Because in this story, Charlotte Perkins Gilman's present a feminist literature.
Okay.
And in this story, she talk about feminism and woman's self-expression. Woman has the right to self-expression, what
Okay.
she need, and so.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank
And
you, ma'am.
the next participant for our session is Vidushi Pathak. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Vidushi Pathak. She is a PhD research scholar in English, Lovely Professional University, Punjab, and her title is Exploring Culture and History, a study of Kim Scott True Country. Yes, ma'am, you can do your presentation now.
Thank you, ma'am. I will be presenting my presentation paper entitled Exploring Culture and History,
Okay.
a study of Kim Scott True Country. Talking about Kim Scott Kim Scott is an Australian novelist of Aboriginal Australian ancestry. He is a descendant of the Noongar people of Western Australia. Kim Scott was born in Perth in 1957 and is the eldest of the four siblings with a white mother and an Aboriginal father. He has written 5 novels and a children's book and has had poetry and short stories published in the range of anthologies. He began writing shortly after becoming a secondary school teacher of English, and his teaching experience included working in urban and rural Australia and in Portugal. He spent some time in teaching at an Aboriginal community in North or Western Australia, where he started to research his family history. His first novel, True Country, which is published in 1993, which an edition published in a French translation in 2005. Also, his novel Benang won the Western Australian Premier Book Award in 1999. We can see that both novels were influenced by his research and seem to be semi-autobiographical, as the theme of the novel have been said to explore the problem of self-identity faced by light-skinned Aboriginal people and examine the government assimilationist policies during the first decades of the 20th century. Also, Scott was the first Indigenous writer to win the Miles Franklin Award, which has been published in translation in France and the Netherlands. Talking about the True Country, which was first published in 1993, tells the story of Billy, who is a protagonist of this work, True Country. It tells the story of Billy, a young teacher who moves to a remote settlement in Australia's far north to take up a job at a local school. Here in a Christian mission now in decline and the government administrative outpost, struggling to keep staff, Billy and his wife Liz find themselves thrust into an Aboriginal community that appears to be in disarray. Yet Billy is drawn to the people and the astonishing landscape in which they live in ways that surprise him. Also, Billy has been settled into this remote area which is known as Karnama, where they find many new things where they experience many new things for the very first time. The first impression is beautiful of the landscapes, and afterwards they go into the deep. Like it's only when Billy and Liz settle into their new lodgings and begin work that they pick up on the very real them and us mentality that exists between the white and blacks. Also, there arises the tensions between these two cultures caused primarily by different set of values. Many of the Aboriginals living in Karnama have so little respect for education that the teachers must wake up their students and practically drag them into the classroom every morning. There is no understanding of the concept of personal property, so that if they borrow a car and crash it, it is simply abandoned by the side of the road. Also, there are more deeper problems, more disturbing problems we can find, like alcohol abuse and petrol sniffing, and men are so violent with each other and their wives too. Strangely, for all the shocking incidents in this novel, it's not a depressing one. That's largely due to the main protagonist of the novel, that is Billy. Billy's assimilation, for want of a better word, into this community. For part way through the story, you can through the story, we come to realize that Billy is not white. He has Aboriginal ancestry, and his reason for moving to this community is to discover that part of himself which for so long has remained dormant and unknowable. There are wonderful descriptions of outing to go fishing and to learn about the culture, that is bush culture, and to fall that little bit in love and the varied landscape around him uh, throughout the work. Also, he strikes up a particularly lovely friendship with the one of the character in the work, who is known as Fatima, one of the oldest Aboriginal women living in Karnama, who always sits at his kitchen table and tells him the stories that he records on audio tape with a view to transcribing them for his students. So it's perhaps telling that this form of oral history, so much a part of Aboriginal culture, never makes it into the written form, for Billy realizes that to do so would require too much time and too much editing, and he doesn't think that he has the right to alter Fatima's word, as we can see that these are not his stories to tell. Also, the work is largely structured around a series of vignettes and what the sketches of characters or scenes. Uh, Also, it engaged the portrait of the community to learn about their ways, how it works, and the people who inhabit it ways a normal narrative. And also, this narrative has been written largely written in the first person. There's snatches of present tense to the heightened tension, and also there are many passages told in Aboriginal vernacular which lend a vivid, authentic flavor to the work. To conclude my paper, I would say that the Kim Scott's true country culminates within identity, culture identity formation, where an individual identity is proved to exist amidst the community identity, the finding of one inevitably leading to the finding of another. That's all about my paper. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, madam. It's a nice presentation about the true country. And what I find, do you have inclination towards Australian literature?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any particular reason?
It just to find the interesting in the novels of Kim Scott, we find the interesting thing that that all the works of the writer deals with the specific Aboriginal community, that is his own community, Noongar community. That's why I opted to choose this book.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
I think the staff from Mohammed Sattaq College will take over for the next session.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Well, thank you so much, ma'am, for being with us and allotting your time for us. We're very much honored. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.